Hi, I'm Gaia Melikian, and I'm thrilled to be here with the director and cast members of the movie The Witch. Joining me first is director-writer Robert Eggers and the adorable Anya Taylor-Joy. Robert, you won the directing award at the Sundance Film Festival literally just a couple of weeks ago. So I'm going to read a quote. To a director who demonstrated a consistent and excellently rendered vision, creating a story that was hauntingly detailed as it was masterfully executed. Congratulations on that wonderful achievement.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can you please tell us about your movie?
Yeah, I mean, The Witch is a psychological horror story about a family of English settlers who are extreme Puritans who go to the New World to start a new life, but unfortunately, a witch tears the family apart. And in this film, I've done my very best to recreate an extremely authentic 17th century world so that the audience can believe in the witch the same way this family would, and see the 17th century witch as this primal, terrifying anti-mother figure, ogress.
What's really interesting and what was very admirable for me is you did quite the authentic, extensive research. I understand a lot of your dialogue and storytelling is based on actual folktales and fairy tales and documents and court documents and journals and diaries based on, from the period. So that must have been really cool.
Yeah, it was great. It was a lot of fun. I mean, it took like 4 years to get the film written and financed, and it was, a lot of time to research. And I was working with museums and historians and people in the living history community to, make it all right. And again, this is this all is all about just transporting the audience. That's why we do it. But yeah, I mean, the clothes were all hand stitched and made from patterns from extant clothing, and the family farmstead was made from the correct materials, which very often meant having to use the tools and techniques from the period to make the stuff. And the story itself, it was constructed from these primary sources. What's really interesting is that the real world and the fairy tale world were the same thing in the 17th century. And so to see, in the fairy tales and folk tales were the exact same as the court records and other historical accounts. So it's like, what are the things that happen in all of these accounts of witchcraft? Like, those need to be in this story.
Yeah.
What are the things that speak the most personally to me? Those need to be in the story. And then what are the weird, kind of strange, exotic things that, something about them is saying this works, even though I don't understand why? Those definitely need to be there. And then learn about why they work later.
That's what makes your project uniquely fascinating. I loved it.
Thank you.
Anya, now this is your first feature film and leading role, and you gave such an excellent performance.
Oh, thank you.
And if you were to think about all the things that you learned from Robert, your director, what is on top of that list?
Everything. He taught me how to act. I mean, he's been the most incredible mentor and friend, and as a director, he's just, you can't really beat him. We work very well together, and he just taught me, what it is that I love about acting, and I really do love it, and he just created this incredible kind of, it almost felt like school, I'd go in every day and I'd just learn so much, and hopefully that comes across on screen.
Oh, it definitely does. You're a must-see.
Thank you.
Robert, you seem to dabble in the dark fantasy genres. You also wrote and directed the short story The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe, who was a master of horror. Is he an inspiration to you?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, Poe's, you can't beat Edgar Allan Poe.
Any chance I can persuade you to make the Black Cat?
Well, the thing is, Poe's stuff, I think, succeeds best in a short format. I mean, that was part of his philosophy,
right?
Is the short format, and I do love the Roger Corman Poe cycle. It's a lot of fun, but they're not great films. And I've tried actually to do feature-length Poe screenplays, and I've never succeeded. Maybe someday someone can. But it's very difficult. You can only really do a 45-minute Poe movie.
Got
I feel.
it. Thank you so much again, you guys. I am now with Ralph Einson and Kate Dickey. Congratulations, guys, on this wonderful new project.
Thank you.
I understand you two play the parents to the 5 children in the movie. Tell me about the dynamic between your characters.
Well, they've had, we think, an amazing marriage and an amazing backstory. A wonderful life in England.
We love each other dearly.
Yeah, really, a really, really strong bond. And by the time we pick up the family in this movie, they moved from Yorkshire in England to New England and been kicked out of their Puritan plantation because of William's choices of how he chooses to worship.
It feels like it's a real love story with Catherine and William. However, because they've ended up getting pushed into these extreme situations, and with William's pride and my constant questioning, which I shouldn't do as a Puritan, to God about the baby and about Thomason and about everything, it just gets put under so much pressure it cracks, which is sad for them, because they are a real love story, we feel, and especially when they were back at home in England. And
I think it must have been a really great family.
Yeah.
Your relationship in the movie was very lovely to me, because you could see that, especially given your backgrounds. You guys are amazing actors. I mean, Ralph, you have done, besides the feature films, a ton of TV, like even Game of Thrones and The Office, and you've been in the Harry Potter franchises. How has this experience been different for you?
Almost completely, in a sense of it's a chance for me to work collaboratively with the director in a way that I just haven't really had the chance to do before. To really engage in a whole project from start to finish, have a chance to prepare for the part beforehand and see the job all the way through. So it's a very special project for me.
And Kate, you also have quite the diverse resume. You've also been classically trained in Scotland. So what lured you to this project?
Oh, it was the script. I mean, I read it and just was like, I want to play. Sometimes you get scripts through and you literally, every fibre in your being is screaming, give me the job. And I felt like that with this. It was I just hadn't read such a beautiful script like that for a long time. And then I went down to audition, and Ralph had been cast already. And I met Rob and Ralph, and it just worked with us. It was a great chemistry.
Yeah.
We did a small scene from the movie and did a bit of improv, and we were literally shaking
Physically
together.
shaking. It was a really intense
And we quickly became very close. It just worked. I think Rob's got a great eye for casting people, not just about maybe their acting, but about, I don't know, he just had a sixth sense, because the whole family became really tight.
Yeah, I mean, what makes this movie really wonderful, I think, is besides the great actors that were, casted for this film, you certainly see that bond. It's also the storytelling was very authentic.
Yeah.
I was just talking to Robert, so it's a wonderful movie.
Oh, he's amazing. Yeah.
And I understand that you filmed at a very remote forest location in Canada.
Yeah.
How was that experience?
Well, it all added to it in a sense.
Yeah.
We were kind of billeted in this tiny town called Mattawa, all living together, like the family. We had every room in this tiny hotel.
Right.
So and then we drive 45 minutes every day out into the woods to a place called Chios, where the farm was. And the production provided a car for me, so I'd drive most of the cast and the kids, and we'd drive out to work every day. It was like doing the school run.
It was.
Very neat.
And we had a week of rehearsals before we started shooting, which was so clever. And in that week we bonded, and everyone was homesick, people had tea, the usual settling in, and we really became like a family.
Okay.
And that helped a lot, didn't it? Yeah. Not just saying, oh, hi, I'm Kate, and now we'll do a scene.
Right.
I think, to, especially with the children, to have that bond of trust that we had with the kids meant that they feel free to do better work, I think, as we do with them.
They felt safe with us, and they felt they could come to us for cuddles if they're missing, they had their, dads with them, but if they're missing their mummy, I would give Ellie a cuddle. And so we became a really supportive unit, which was lovely. And I think that adds to it, because there was no pretending of dynamics. There was no pretending to care for each other,
Well, it certainly comes across.
Oh, great.
The Witch is available at a Redbox location nearest you. Thank you so much again, you guys, for being
you.
so lovely to chat with.
Thank you. It's
and
lovely to meet
congratulations
you.
again.